Hey everybody. All right, we coming back. Oh my goodness. Yes. Hey, hello everyone. It is Gretchen. Welcome, and welcome to Ambrosia Hour. Although water will have to do tonight. Knee surgery on Monday, so we have to be good. Welcome. Hey, hi. I'm Gretchen Shepherd. I'm a photographer, and I am learning along the way. Been a photographer for a long time. That's not really the problem. It's learning a lot of other things. And it's not really a problem. It's a challenge. It's a good challenge. So thank you for coming along on this journey with me where I'm keeping it real. Yes. So this is the name of my vlog. And you are here on episode 10. What? 10 in a row. Now, yeah, that's a pretty big deal for me to go 10 days in a row on anything. But, it's been that kind of a year, and I've met some challenges, and I've stuck with some things. And so this is something else and something new to stick to. So that's what I am up to. And we're just going to check to see if my sound is up. Did I turn things around? So, heads up. Oh, okay, got that. Yes, you should be able. All right. Microphone is, everything's good. Everything's good. Yes. So, like I said, I'm Gretchen Shepherd and I'm a photographer. And one of the things that about photography that so many, oops, are people still on? I'm looking to see if it's there, and it's not. Hey, Paul, I am not on my camera. I wonder what's going on. What's going on? All right, this one. There we go. This is what I'm supposed to be. You should be seeing, but you're still seeing the opening. Hi, Gloria. Okay, so you guys get to help me with this. I'm doing this beginning opening. I got that done. Thing, and now I should be right here. And there, but I don't know if you guys are catching me. Oh, yes, there we are. Yay! I had my iPad on the other one. Okay, we're back at it. And like I said, this is night 10, and I'm just stunned. Oh, good, Paul. I thank you. I had my iPad up here and I had not refreshed it to see. I'm still working through things like what I can use to see what I'm showing you and all those things, because I'm using, when we get to Lightroom, I need my big computer screen for me to even see what I'm doing. I can't do it on little things. But anyway, so that's what we're doing. So on this journey, yay, learning a lot of things about ECamm and about going live and about switching scenes and all these kind of things, which I still am working on, which is fine. It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress. And then, but along that way, I'm bringing you along into Lightroom with me and showing you some things that can be done, that I can do, or that I'm learning new to do, and with some of the new things that have happened. Hey, Gloria. Just so got to check in. Paul's here. Paul Duncan, the great Mr. Paul Duncan, who helped me so much in getting into ECamm. Gloria, one of my great fluid artist friends and an amazing Reiki healer. So it's nice to have you here. Gloria, if you could send me a message or something with your address so that I can get your photo to you. I think you sent it to me, but it went into a file that has downloaded to another someplace that I don't know in my brain where it is. So I'm just going to ask again. That's kind of the way this goes. It's, we had a class today with Paul was on it and a bunch of other people. And somebody said something about, they felt like kind of like a kid. They were back in kindergarten. And I taught kindergarten for many years. And I was really glad that he brought that word up because it made me realize one of the rules that I had when I taught kindergarten was that my goal was to take a child just farther than where they came in the first day. It didn't have to be to the end of the world, and it didn't have to be really fast. But it was just to get them further along than when they came to me that first day. And literally, it was oftentimes spring vacation where suddenly everything kind of came together and they could figure out what a line was or could figure out how to come in from recess, or something kicked in and they got something that we had been working on daily for the past 100 days. There's a reason you celebrate the 100th day of school, especially for kindergarten, because it's a big thing. It's like you can almost see little light bulbs exploding all over their heads when they're learning something. And learning ECamm and this whole aspect is a lot like being in kindergarten again. I will have days that I will make a lot of progress, and then today, some of it will go back because I will have forgotten something and I won't have clicked something. It's not muscle memory yet. It's not in there. I haven't done it enough times to really get it, but that's okay. That's really what this is all about, is making it okay to just push forward, push through, and see what we can do. Because what's the worst that gonna happen? That I'm out there in the universe doing something wrong? Oh well, big deal. Yeah, that means I fit right in. So that's what I'm up to. Thanks, Gloria. Oh, I appreciate you saying that. Gloria Paul was one of the individuals who was on my all my lives. She's been here almost, I think, every night. Yay! So tonight, the title is Ambrosia Hour. What about golden and blue? So in my class, one of the ladies that has a yoga studio, Chocolate Twist Yoga. Oh my gosh, her 10-minute morning yoga. Whoa! Oh, the worst that can happen is that you'll be like the rest of us and make mistakes. Oh, hey, then I'm loving that, because, my motto has always, as a teacher, was if they come home too clean, they must not have had any fun. So my new motto is, if I go through this without any mistakes, I must not have been trying hard enough or learning very much. We'll do something around that. Who knows? I'll come up with something better. But anyway, as I was saying, Chocolate Twist Yoga, Kali, has this amazing 10-minute morning beginner yoga. And it's just, I've been doing it a few mornings because I'm having knee surgery on Monday. Yeah. So it's been important to get those exercises, and I'm not, for somebody who used to be an athlete, I really don't like to do exercises and stretching. I'll go out and walk and do other stuff, but set exercises are not my jam. But in the discussion one night, she was talking about what she's done to get herself at this point where she's very consistent. And I mean, I'm retired, so I have some time to put into this and choose to do that. She's not. She's got a lot of other things. So she's up at 3:30. She calls it the Ambrosia Hour. I don't necessarily call it that. But I am familiar with that time of day. And I thought, well, I like that term. And maybe if I think of it as ambrosia, it won't be so brutal when we go out on shoots in essentially the blue hour or the golden hour. And I'm going to see, now this is a whole new thing. If I can get this to, see if it'll choose my, nope. Oh well, I thought I could maybe get my, maybe I can do it on this one. I thought I could get my phone to come up as a camera, but I probably can't. Oh well. Anyway, so I'm going to tell you a little bit. I was going to try to show you on my phone as an extra camera, but it didn't come up. So this right here, oh, come on. There we go. This is an app I have that tells the sun time every day and the sunset time and whatnot. And there's some hours in there. Yes. And they're the astronomical sunrise, the nautical sunrise, the civil sunrise, and then the official sunrise. And then there is the official sunset, the civil sunset, the nautical sunset, the astronomical sunset, and all of that. These are kind of things that different photographers who do different type of things will pay a lot of attention. I'm not going to go that complicated. I'm just going to stick with golden hour and blue hour. Golden hour, it's golden because at least the sun's up. That's what I think. It is the hour after sunrise and the hour before sunset. A lot of things, golden hour is really great light. You get soft things. If the clouds are out, if you've got good sky, it can be pretty amazing. Blue hour is generally the hour before sunrise and after sunset. Now that's all well and good at this time of year because let's see, official sunset today in my neck of the woods was at 4:26 p.m. and official sunrise was at 4:32 a.m. this morning. 7:32 a.m. this morning. So all good. That's like, okay, I can go out shooting cool light at 3:30 in the afternoon until 5:30, come back for a glass of wine and dinner, and all's good. And sunrise at 7:30, that means, okay, I can be out at 6:30 and stay till like 8 o'clock and get some good, 8, yeah, and still make it back in time for breakfast and all that wonderful things. That's this time of year. The downside to that on this time of year where I am is that time at 7:32 in the morning can be drenching, and to get any place that you might want to, it's gray and whatnot. You're never quite sure whether the sun's going to break through the clouds or what's going to happen, but it's still so worth it. But at least I'm not getting up at dark 30 like Cully is for her at 3:30 in the morning. In the summer, if I was to take this and take a date instead and go back to, say, June. Let's go to June. What are we on, the 27th? Let's go to June 27th instead and see what that says. Nope, let's go to June 27th. June 27th. And see if I can get it to do that. Date used. Use current date. Oh, no. It's not going to tell me. Well, I can tell you. Sunrise is oftentimes at 4 o'clock in the morning. Sun sets not until almost 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes around here. That means to get where I want to go, if I want to get to the beach and to the Pacific to take photos in the summer, I might as well go the night before and camp overnight. And because to get down at beach at sunrise, I'm needing to be out on the beach at 4 o'clock in the morning to do blue hour and golden hour. And sunset, I am waiting around forever. And then there's a whole other issue of tides and whatnot. But it's still gorgeous. This time of year, it's pretty awesome because the days are so much shorter and I get to sleep a little bit. So I thought, like I did yesterday, I learned how to share some pictures on a web gallery with Lightroom, and it was a different aspect than their web tab in Lightroom. So I'm going to take you over there. Let me just take you there right now, and we'll go to Lightroom. And all right, so here we are, and you can see that. Yay. So let me show the tab I'm talking about. This web tab over here, I should be able to here do a whole bunch of things and make, I'd have to change the name from an old one, and do a web gallery. And there's some steps to it that are kind of not intuitive. Kind of definitely not intuitive, actually. Like, it instantly comes up with an old tab that I did, an old name that I did. It retains that. It wants me to do some things about upload settings in FTP server or this or that. And I was just like going, this was not the way I wanted to do it. There's things about Lightroom sometimes that are not the way that my brain thinks through a problem. And this particular aspect was one of those. So then last night, Gloria was here. I did a web share of the Thanksgiving stuff. And so that is what I'm going to try to do again and practice it again. But also I wanted to share some images first from golden hour, blue hour, see what they do, see if some of them don't quite fit, but they have that look to it. Like, let me take you up here. All right. So this was, and they go actually in chronological order of the longest ago that I took them. This was taken in 09. Yeah. So I think I sorted them by capture date. This was, we were living in downtown Edmonds, and we were renting a condo right on the water, and this was the view from my deck, and it was pretty spectacular. But you can see this is taken at no, it's not the morning, that's supposed to be PM. My camera also so another thing you have to do is make sure you have your camera setting right for it to be completely accurate. So this is actually at 7/8. Oh, I don't know, the time's probably wrong. This is one that I did a whole lot of stuff to. This was I don't think I have the original in here. Early on, when I was playing with some digital imaging and pixel playing and pulling things back and forth, I came up with this one. The clouds were incredible there. When we've had the summer forest fires here in the Northwest and around, we we get these incredible sunsets. Not it's the only good side effect of the whole forest fire thing, between the smoke coming down from BC and up from California, and we get pretty sucked in up here sometimes. But so this was again a plain kind of thing, but it's, you can see the sun is getting there. This was a golden hour aspect. We're getting closer to golden hour here too. This is that same area. This is a JPEG. Again, some of these that I'm looking at what I did and how, when I photographed them, what was I seeing and what do I change now on this? I probably, it's so, my photography could be a lesson for me in learning anything, because back then I was still shooting in JPEG. I hadn't quite grasped JPEG and RAW. You probably more than you want to know, but it's good for me to articulate this stuff because I get asked, and so, like I said, this is my learning and laughter platform here. So you can laugh with me, correct me, figure out what she say, and then she'll go back and think, no. So JPEG is a smaller file, and when you're shooting in JPEG, it's mainly what your phone does. Hi, Angie. Oh, you started a painting and lost track of time, girl. Do I not? I know that. I mean, how many times? Yes, I think it's wonderful. Just so I will forgive you if you show me the painting. Okay, that's all I ask. So, and Angie, I said ask Gloria too. I misplaced where you guys sent me your addresses, and I need to send you your picture too, Angie. So if you could send me a message, I would really love that. But this, so when you take a picture with JPEG, the camera, the software within the camera, within your phone, automatically kind of like, it flattens everything together, the part, and it makes it blends everything together and enhances in between. Okay, what it is. So it gives you kind of an enhanced version of the picture. So when I first started shooting digital, I would look at the difference between my JPEG and my RAW and think, oh, the JPEG looks so much better. What I didn't understand was that the RAW photo was much more like a negative to me. It had all the information within that, and I could adjust that information back to make it look like the image that I saw in my eyes, or like I did back here, make it into something completely different, completely out of whack. And I was, quite frankly, arrogant enough in my thinking I knew my stuff that I kind of ignored this thing about, oh, RAW, that I was so wrong. Oh, well, that's okay. Oh, you got your Riesling. I'm just doing water, Angie. Knee surgery Monday. I have to 9 o'clock in the morning. So I have a lot of photos from when we lived here in Edmonds. That's the ferry dock that you see right there, Edmonds Kingston Ferry. This is taken actually in the blue hour of dawn. The condo I lived in faced due west, and the sun you see coming, the lights you see is coming from behind and bouncing off the top over everything there, and it's very, yeah, that's 8:25 in the morning. Again, nighttime. Now this is more often, this is blue hour at night. This one is another one that I did the digital aspect to this. Was my sister's backyard over the hop fields, and I wanted to make it a more painterly type of thing. Plus, when you screw up and you shoot in JPEG in low light and everything's all kind of pixelated and noisy, you can fix it a little bit by making it more painterly and blurring the edges and deciding to be an artist that you are, and that photographs don't have to be exactly the representation of what you saw. That's why photography as art is what I have. This one is really blown out, but this was also the middle of end of July of 2013, and we had ripping wildfires in all over the Oregon and Washington and British Columbia and California. It was a brutal time, and so you got these skies that were something else, and the clouds and the smoke would be in them. So I think about what I wanted to talk about with this golden hour and the blue hour, about what we see and how we it makes it for color photography. It's really can do something. This was in Wyoming, actually, and this was a little road that I saw as we were heading toward Douglas. We were going to Douglas, Wyoming, to look up my family heritage. My great grandmother came from Ireland as a young 18-year-old girl by herself, and came to Douglas, Wyoming, and got her own homestead on her own. Yeah, pretty amazing. And I wanted to really go back and see what this heritage was about her and what she had done, and see what I could find. But on the way, I saw this little county park, and it was Ayers Bridge, or Natural Bridge County Park. Ayers Natural Bridge County Park. And I thought of Ayers Rock, in Australia, and I was like, what? And we drove this 8 miles down this dusty road, and came around down under, and the light was coming in, and there's these orange rocks all the way around this little valley, and it's reflecting in this orange and purple light, and it was just sweet. Was so sweet. So I thought it was pretty cool. And this is another, we were driving back to Casper to stay in Casper, and I think I took this out the car. My husband had a hard time, and now I don't, because we usually have the trailer now, so he doesn't have to pull over like he used to. But I used to just yell, stop, and we're on the freeway or someplace like that. But it wasn't so bad in Wyoming, because the entire population of Wyoming, the state, is less than the amount of people that are in the city of Seattle, I think, or something, or in King County up here. It's crazy. But it's such a beautiful state. Such a beautiful state. Again, coming back through, this is the sunset colors. And I went through a lot of stage where I was doing maybe too much HDR, or blending too much, or too this or that. And so it's kind of good to go back and see where some things worked and where they didn't. This was a real fortunate shot. Again, right before sunset. We're talking that golden hour is such a beautiful time to catch. And if you can do it, and This is, if I can get my information, see if it has it. Okay, so this was at ISO 400, and I had an f10. So that means the aperture, the hole was not very big for the light to come through in my lens, the aperture. And it was at 1/640th of a second, and I was at 130 millimeters. Was I on the? I was on my. I have had a DO lens, a 75-300 DO lens, and the cool thing about this was that there was so much haze in the sky from the fires that it cut out that sun flare that oftentimes you would get. And I would have gotten, if it had been clear, I would have gotten the sun flare because I'm shooting right into the sun. But, I happened to catch a seagull flying by. The only thing that would have probably made it better is if there was a ferry boat, because this was like right out in front of our condo that we were renting, and that's across to the Kitsap Peninsula, which is actually, and then the mountains in the back are the Olympic Mountains, and that's the east side of the Olympic Range, and then just on the other side of that range is where the Hoh Rainforest and the Pacific is. So, but this is Puget Sound. This is all salt water. And I threw in. When I was in high school, we used to do this thing called solarization, and I had this amazing. Oh my gosh, I had just the best photography teacher in high school, and he taught us just so many different skills and things that we did and what you had to do. I mean, the first camera that I had to use is a camera I had to make in my photography class. It wasn't my first camera, but he made us make one, and that was the first roll of film for class that we had to develop and whatnot. And I would love to find those someday. I know there's some place around that has a negative that I took of my dad. He thought it was hilarious. But so this is the sun setting through the clouds, and it's very solarized, and you get that aspect to it. Again, golden hour, dropping down low. I'm not quite laying on the beach here, but I'm just at an angle where I'm again this time I'm at 1250 ISO, and because I wanted to kind of stop the action, I wasn't into the smoothing out the water. I liked to catch the water drops as they were just right there, and this was just the way it comes across the sand. And then, another day, a different light, it comes across as pink and blue. But this is why you're always told as a photographer, you stop. No matter what, you stop. You turn around, you go back. You don't wait to come back the next day, because this might not be there. The clouds. There it is. That's the ferry boat. So, Paul, when you were, if Paul is still on, remember when we had class that day and somebody said, Gretchen's on a boat? That's the boat I was on. That's if you live in the Northwest, in the Seattle area, that's a Washington State ferry. It is a major method of transportation and commuting. In the morning, that coming from Kingston on the far side over here. Oops, where did I go? There, over here, to the ferry dock, which is, there's one of the pilings right, the old there. It takes it's about a 25-minute ride, and there's probably at least, if it's the big one, it's about 300 to 350 cars on it. And yeah, it goes back. That one, right now they're having problems getting ferry workers and whatnot, so it's down to once an hour, but it usually runs every half hour. During commute times, it runs every half hour. And again, sunset. This is where the ferry comes in, right there, um, at the landing, Brackett's Landing, and the condo we lived in was just down the beach to the south. And yeah, again, the sunset, that time. So you can see why I love this. And oh, there's the first of my dragons. This was one time. Oh my gosh, this was, yep, 2014. We had it was another year, two summers in a row that we had, and I lived down there. This day I had the dragons come out, and if you can see, I have some more at some place where they were like three of them along the way, floating by my by our condo right there. It's an amazing thing to see, and there's so much to capture. And you guys that are fluid artists, really, you could just the color palette alone, how it changes at blue hour, that hour before sunrise and the hour after sunset, that blue hour to golden hour, that hour after sunrise and the hour before sunset. It's just amazing how much the color palette changes, even if you're standing in the same spot. This is a place I think I first went when I was a child. It didn't look like this when I went there with my parents on a little 15-foot Chris Craft boat that we had. This is Roche Harbor on San Juan Island, and Roche Harbor, the Hotel de Haro is there, and it has such a history. I mean, I think Teddy Roosevelt stayed there. There is this beautiful old mausoleum from a family crypt, and that the people that were there at the time, and the history is all there. But now there's a marina there. People come in on their boats because, again, this is part of the San Juan Islands. And there is a ferry that comes into this island, but not in here to this harbor. This is on the, I guess it would be, I'm going to just say the west side, maybe the northwest side of the island. The ferry comes in to Friday Harbor on San Juan Island on the opposite side. It's a fairly good size island, and there's a ferry that goes between the San Juan Islands in Washington, and occasionally will go from here to Canada too, and it takes you over to Nanaimo near Victoria. Beautiful. In fact, that's in the background back there. No, that's Mount Constitution. Maybe that could be part of Vancouver Island. I can't tell. But again, that time that it is just coming, the sun is just glowing everything, and it's just set or almost setting. It was just a magical time. Again, low tide in Everett, that just after sunset. So here I'm looking at blue hour. This is out to a little place called EB Island. There's another boat launch over here. This is in downtown Everett. If you are a Funko fan, the capital of the Funko, it's their main headquarters. I tell you, when there's a Funko release up there, the line is crazy. We used to live in Everett before we moved down here, and went down here quite a bit. So this is, again, what I occasionally will do with something completely different, where I've taken a photo and I took a photo. This was on the way. This is on the way to Mount Baker. Yes, this is on the Mount Baker Highway, which is fairly in the north part of Washington, and it's not too far from the Canadian border. And I was heading up, and I saw this cool old barn and this beautiful light and everything. And I got out and took the picture. And when I got it back, it did not have the impact that it had on me when I saw the whole setting. And at that point, I really wanted to recreate that to see if I could. So this is an image that I took into a program called Topaz Studios, and I made some real conscious decisions about playing with light because the way the light was glowing over the rim of this hill and around the barn, and the light I saw bouncing off of these leaves. This was in fall, and the colors were all just in full crazy bloom and in their glory, and it's just, I wanted to do that. And that was what kind of, oh, Angie, thank you. Whoa. Bob Ross trees in the foreground. Oh my gosh. So yeah, it's one of those things that I have to try something different once in a while and try something new in order to keep growing. This was, geez, I pulled out, this was in a neighborhood I was going to someplace. This was, gosh, up in Mukilteo. I thought I might catch that. There's another ferry that goes across over here that you can sometimes see all the little islands. This is all Puget Sound, and there's islands dotted all over the place. Go to, now we're getting a little bit more, oops, hold it. Where did I do that? Sometimes I jump. There we go. Come on, okay. So this image, that bridge, it goes across the Columbia River, and that's this is the Astoria side in Astoria, Oregon. And Astoria is the oldest town in Oregon State. And then the bridge that takes you across is, I think it's either 4 or 6 miles. I think it's 4-mile bridge. Yeah, it's crazy. And so this part of the bridge is so tall because freighters come along under here up the Columbia River, and you'll oftentimes see freighters out there. And there's this cool boardwalk that goes along here. I went down to photograph. We were doing some work down there. But again, this is another JPEG. I don't know why. Oh, I know. Because this was an edited, and then I exported it for that. Yeah. Again, I guess, so it's by capture date, not by my edit date. So the one with Astoria was edited much longer after I took it. So, because I think I took it at one point when I went down to photograph the sea lions that have taken over. There's a marina in Astoria that has lost 2 of its boat docks. I think it's 2 of its boat docks because the sea lions have taken it over, and you cannot get 200-300 sea lions to move at all and just leave. So it's quite you can hear them barking in town. I mean, it's hilarious. Not so much for the people who live there because they're not exactly the most pleasant smelling animals, but that's the way it goes. This is taken at, it says 10:56, 11 o'clock p.m. And my camera was probably still set on Pacific time. Yeah, no, it's right. It's at the right one. Okay. This was in Alaska. This is the moon rising over Lake Iliamna, the hills behind Lake Iliamna. And it was a blue moon, and it was a super moon. And it was in 2015 when I went to photograph the bears up in Katmai. And we were staying in this little fishing lodge and would have to fly in by a very small seaplane, held about 5 people or 6, across 45 minutes across and into Katmai National Park every day to go hike in and find the bears. But the night I was doing this, I went wandering out. I wanted to go photograph the moon coming up, and I'm coming along, I'm going down the path, and one of the guys comes out and goes, that worked at the lodge, goes, what are you doing, Gretchen? I said, I want to go down to the little path and go over and photograph the moon. And he goes, okay, that's good. Let me go get the bear spray and I'll come with you. And I said, well, I'm just going to, he goes, no, let me go get the bear spray and I'll come with you. And I went, oh, and it was just like, I'm right literally walking on a path that walks next to this little cabin lodge type things, and there's just little bushes and trees. I'm going to go down to a beach, and I had not been out yet into Katmai. This was our first night there before we went up the next morning, so I was taking these photos. So I hadn't seen my first bear yet, and I had not walked through a meadow where I looked, and 30 feet to my one side, a head pops up and looks at me, and I'm like, oh. So they were really good about that. But I got my picture again, and then the clouds dissipated, and that's Lake Iliamna. Beautiful, beautiful lake. And that, working so hard to keep that pristine and wonderful. That's the lake that was threatened by the pebble mines. They wanted to, it's just a whole really open pit mining in Alaska by a group that has no business. And so fortunately it was stopped, because that lake also is the home to the only freshwater seal that is known to exist, at least according to a gentleman I know that worked for NOAA that was up there studying them. Pretty cool. Anyway, Lake Iliamna. Whoa. Okay. So remember I said about you have to take the picture. You can't wait and you go back, and sometimes it is just. So Alaska, I was there in 2015. It was a huge impact. I'll probably never not. I want to go back so badly, and I could do a bunch of shows just on that experience. This was a whole different thing. This was taken in 2015. So I'd come back. We got back from Alaska. I was there for right the end of July, beginning of August, and then my husband and I headed out to go to Oregon and to see my daughter. And yes, because McLean had just been born. That's right. McLean was born. And so this was shortly after my grandson's birth. And then Bob and I decided to go to Crater Lake. Crater Lake was covered in a thick cloud of wildfire smoke. In fact, the north entrance was closed due to a wildfire that was in some, we had to go a convoluted way to get in. And then the Pacific Trail, which is the Pacific Crest hiking trail, was closed just north of Crater Lake. So all the hikers that were on the trail were stuck at Crater Lake right there. And most of them, there's a ton of people that hike that trail. And then there was a part you could get up, if you could get a ride up another 100 miles or so, then it opened up again, but then it closed again in Washington because it was on fire up here. But this is the reflection of on the lake from the forest fire at sunset. And man, we were tent camping, and our tent in the morning had probably a 1/4 inch of ash covering everything. Absolutely crazy. And that's Wizard Island. If you've never been to Crater Lake, that's the island that's in it. And that's how thick the smoke was. It was kind of difficult to breathe, but it was rough on my camera, but rough on my lungs, but gorgeous pictures. And rough, oh boy. It was, we completely changed how our trip that year. We ended up going to the coast. There have been some rough ones. My daughter almost had to evacuate her house, and she did have a friend who lost a house during 2020 on those fires that were down outside of Eugene and that area again. And that's what kind of happens with that haze, how it pulls the color, that you see such this contrast of colors and what can happen. So on this one, I really kind of dropped the clarity down because I just wanted to get that little bit of just how hazy it was. That's what I wanted to communicate. Oh, Gloria, I tell you, that picture for Jeremy, the orange, what a good idea. Oh my gosh, maybe I'll make it into a Christmas card for him and send it to him. That'd be funny. Oh my gosh, that would be a hoot. Yeah, Alaska is something else. My husband's sister lives on the north side of Kodiak Island. You can only get to her place by seaplane or boat. And she actually is in Kodiak right now. She called her brother the other day because she's having a knee replacement too. So, yeah. Okay. Out from there. Remember I said I'd gone to, gosh, I don't know how many I put in these. I just was pulling these all in here, and I just wanted to show the light and show the different things and explore how I worked with it. This was another one that I did some kind of, a combination of just to really make it that clarity and make it more almost like it had been painted, but not really. That's Mount Baker. That is one of the active volcanoes we have here in the state of Washington. Yeah. Lovely. You don't see the puff of, you oftentimes see steam coming out of Mount Baker, which is good. I'd rather see steam coming out of it all the time. Yeah. Here's some water in the beach. Mykilteo, not very clear. Oh, Gretchen, there's another JPEG. That's an older one. This is up in Iliamna, I think. No, it's not. It's just another grass. Beach in Oregon, doing some people. Oh, this was in Manzanita with my sisters. These are the Oregon beaches. Or like I think I mentioned, Oregon beaches are sandy and beautiful, and they have cool sea stacks, and they're very nice. Washington beaches are rugged and rocky, and they're a whole different setup. Oh my goodness. Okay. Oh, nope. Sorry. Forgot to turn off my phone. I forgot to turn off my phone. Do not disturb. So, again, a little past, this is like when I said that Kali talked about Ambrosia Hour. It is doing night sky photography. I've tried it a couple of times. I may try it again. Oh, Paul, great. I'll hop over to Luis's when I'm done. Paul's a great moderator. Thank you. Thanks for being here, Paul. And a friend of ours, Mr. Camera Junkie, does a live on, wonderful things. Has all kinds of questions on cameras he answers. But this image was one that it was during the Perseid meteor shower, and I think, so I'm pretty sure, yes, the only time I did this was at my sister lived in Eastern Washington, and there was not too much light pollution there, and my husband and I were out all night in the field, and I had 2 different cameras going, and I would do I had it set on time lapse to shoot an image trying to catch the meteors. It was just the most frustrating thing in the world, I tell you. I wanted to pull my hair out. I would say, "Oh God, there," and I would have missed it, and I just that crazy thing. But this one, my granddaughter has. I made it into like a wall mural because she's totally into space, and so it's on her wall in her room. Yeah. This is a lake up over Highway 20. I can never remember the lake. But this was, we were coming back from after my father's services. And so this would have been the beginning of September in 2016. And my husband and I decided I needed to camp. So we camped at this lake on the way back. And it's fairly high in the mountains. Highway 20 that it's on actually closes completely. We have a couple mountain passes here that they close down completely for the winter. Chinook Pass and Cayuse Pass already closed. Chinook closed 2 weeks before Thanksgiving, I think, which was actually fairly late for it. And Highway 20, the North Cascades, closes also. There's 20 feet of snow up there, and so anyway, but we were here, and it got so freaking cold at night. We didn't expect it to get so cold, because at that time of year it can be 80 during the day, which it was. I was running around in shorts. 75, 80 was no big deal, and dropped down to 36 degrees at night. And literally, I wore every piece of clothing I had. I had like gloves and socks. I had this on my hands. I had stuff full, and we were in our sleeping bags up to our noses. It's just froze. Then I got up one morning and went out to take this. Was just before sunrise. This is that blue hour type of thing, and like I said, it's a whole different. And that's that mist rising off the lake. Pretty amazing. This is Mount Rainier, late at October 22nd, 2016. This is at almost 7 o'clock at night. So this is definitely blue hour. There's I've got I think there's headlights hitting this one. I did a longer exposure on this, I'm pretty sure. That is called Reflection Lake in front of it, or I grew up calling it Lake Tipsu. But that's Mount Rainier, the big fella that we call it. And October 22nd, there wasn't too much snow that time. We were coming back over at night, coming home from Eastern Washington to see my sister, coming this way, and I again, Bob, pull over. Oh my gosh, it is a mountain pass road. And it's just it's narrow, 2-lane, lots of curves, and there's a reason they close it. There's a reason they close it completely, and they don't bother to keep it open because it's just not passable over the winter. So how am I doing here? Good. I know where we are. Hey. Oops. Cancel that. What did I do? There we go. Deception Pass is another place up. That's Puget Sound, and it's this cool narrow pass that goes between Whidbey Island and the mainland. And I just was out one night with my granddaughter up there in the evening sunset, catching the kayaker, and the people will stack these rocks all over. This might be more familiar with some of you guys. So color palette, again, ladies, this is Death Valley. From Zabriskie Point at sunrise, the sun is just starting to come up behind me, and it's just starting to kiss the top of Death Valley. On the other side of this one right here, it drops off significantly. And this was a piece that didn't come in completely in focus, so I again blurred it. I like the shape, I like the colors. So again, Zabriskie Point, Death Valley, you get a completely different tone of light, a quality of light that you get here than you do anyplace else. And every place is different than this, but boy, Death Valley really surprised me. It really, really surprised me. I grew up in Eastern Washington, and everybody thinks it's all one color, and it's not at all. There's so much to the desert. You take that to Death Valley and amplify it by like 8,000. There's so much complexity to this desert. Colors, the textures, and you can see it here in black and white. This is moonrise over, or moonset over Death Valley. So this moon is setting on this one. So we are looking at golden hour, blue hour crossing over, because the sun is just rising behind me and the moon is still up. And you can see all the different shades and tones that if you saw the original color one, sometimes you don't necessarily notice how much they are, but when I turned this one to black and white, I really, really liked that. And we're coming up on the night shoots. There's a up in Arlington and Washington, there's a small air show every year, and the small planes will come into this small airfield as the moon is rising. I call this one E.T. E.T.'s coming in to this, and they do hot air balloons. It's a balloon glow, which was my first experience doing a balloon glow. If you saw my video that I did with my sisters, where my nephew gave my oldest sister a hot air balloon ride for her 75th birthday, and that was her surprise, but he didn't tell her that he also included the three of us, her three little sisters, in the trip too. And so we had a whole sisters weekend, and we went up for a 3-hour hot air balloon. I did a whole video on it. You guys can see it on the channel. It was pretty awesome. But balloon glows, this was a cool and challenging thing to photograph. I have had it on my bucket list to do the, I think it's in Albuquerque or New Mexico, the New Mexico balloon glow. And it just, with the past couple years, it's just had to be canceled. And for me to go down there, I'm not going to do that. This one's really grainy. I'm not sure why. Probably because I didn't have flash on, and I'm trying to do, why is that? So, oops. Well, for diddly dee. Where did that one go? Okay. That one is, oh yeah, it's 1600. I don't know why. 9th of the 2nd. Oh, 1740. Who knows? Sometimes I don't always know what I did wrong. I just have to look at them. Again, I think with this, with you guys with color, is where you can really see how they come together so well in so many different ways. This one I muted out. I liked the way, in the old Barnum and Bailey circus type advertisements, how they would have like the big top had that kind of ethereal look to it. That's what this one reminded me of. Or if you ever remember watching Dumbo as a kid. This is my sister's yard in Eastern Washington. A different sister over. Oh, okay. So atmosphere. This was golden hour, believe it or not. This was was this October? I think this was. Yeah. October at 5 o'clock in Yellowstone. So, pretty overcast. The sun is basically really low, but I'm getting some light across, and it's snowing. And it's just this flurry of snow. And this fine gentleman came out of the woods up above, up here, and came wandering down and decided it was important. He was actually, there was a trail kind of a little trail right here. They have, you start to learn these where they have their trails going across. And there's also a trail over here. And so you see where I was in between the two trails. So I noticed, I got the picture, and then he was moving that direction. So I moved back the other direction so that I made sure that I cleared the way of his trails in case he wanted to go that way, because he has the right of way. Oops. In Hawaii. When I retired from teaching, my best friend let me have her timeshare for a week. And I proceeded to blow out my knee and have to come home and have it replaced. But this is on the road to Hana. And we were on Maui. Again, those. Look at golden hour. Look at that cute little crab. Isn't he just darling? They're so funny. They're so funny. A lot of this, no sky. But, okay, so this one, see, these are very close. I could do a comparison. This one, I actually bumped up the color quite a bit because I wanted to remember that that Hawaii blue Hawaii type color on the water. Um, but just, it doesn't take long before it drops down a lot. And then, but you can also have this kind of aspect. This is a little closer to the true, this is more true to what it was. But, you know, they're my photos. If I want to make an art piece, I'm going to change the color. Working with. Okay. Oh, where does I go? Ah, here we are. Oops. This swirl of the water, this is that whole thing, that shape, that texture. Kind of like your fluid art, you guys, when you move things around. This is kind of what I look for. This was not golden hour or blue hour. This was middle of the day. My knee was blown out and I was sitting on the beach. This was this was one of those times where I had to get up real early. Up in north of us, up in the Skagit County, that's Mount Baker, there back in sunrise coming over it. You will have snow geese or trumpeter swans covering these fields at certain times of year, and there's always this beautiful mist that's rising over them. When we moved from our house in Everett, we spent 20 days in our trailer, and 8 of them we lived at Camino Island State Park. And this is the beach at Camino Island State Park. It's an island you can drive to here, and the state park is this beautiful. And you just, this is right at the cusp of blue hour and golden hour in the morning in Yellowstone. Probably about minus 20 degrees. Yeah, it was cold, but it was so fun. He was just such a cool bison. It was, when you see these lone bison like this, they're smart enough to take a trail that somebody else has already broken through. But usually these lone ones are the older ones that are coming toward the end of their life. So they separate themselves from the herd. And it's just a real interesting part of nature to watch these guys. And I was there trying to photograph the wolves on a winter wolf expedition. And I saw wolves on 2 days, but not really close enough to get good photos. And I did get some red fox and coyote, lots of bison, lots of mountain sheep, ravens, all those kind of good things. Wolves, I got to go back for again. Comet, that's a comet. That's not just a blank thing. That was, again, why? What was it, that comet that we had coming through? Oh yeah. Gloria, it was one of those things. We had 2 3-dog days in Yellowstone with Yellowstone River, and a 3-dog day is where you see all 3 of the canines. You see the wolves, you see coyote, and you see fox. And we were coming back in the Lamar in this little bus that a little 8-person van actually. And we had just come through one bison jam, which is a traffic jam where the bison just are in the middle of the road and you have to kind of ease forward at 0.1 mile an hour to maybe them move away so you can get through. And then we got past, and then there was another group of bison in front of us. So we were in between. There were no cars behind us. There were no cars in front of us. There was just 2 herds of bison on either side of us, front and back. And as we came around, we saw this fox literally do his jump and dive in to get the little mouse or vole, and he missed it. So he was still turning his head back and forth, and the van driver, she couldn't stop. That's not allowed with what they were doing. But so she opened the front door of this little van bus, and I literally dove into the aisle with my camera. So I'm at the door, and she's couldn't stop, but she's all but stopped. She hasn't put the car in park. She's just barely rolling, and I'm photographing like crazy. My husband is trying to like grab my ankles, make sure I don't go falling out the door. Everybody else on the van who were not photographers were laughing their head off. It was great fun, but I got my shot, and I'm very pleased. Where is this? Oh my goodness. That, gosh, that looks like there's a road heading down when you back road toward to go to Astoria, but it's on the Washington side, and you kind of cut through this marshland and then parts of the Olympic. I don't know. Fiddle. I'll have to look that one up. Well, what happened? Where did I go? I went all the way back. That's not supposed to happen. Oh, my mouse has had its own fun time with me today. All right. Okay. Oh, no, I know where that was. Okay, never mind. I know where I am. No wonder it didn't look familiar or very well. This is Sunrise, Mount St. Helens. So that is Mount St. Helens right there. That's right. I'm at the visitors center. Went down at sunrise. Yes, that's right. I saw on the next one. Okay. Yeah, that's from the west side. Ways away. Olympic National Park in the Hoh Rainforest. Oh, yeah. This is my, reminds me of the Mystics from Dark Crystal. So the colors, like Angie, you had the purple and greens in that piece you did last time. And then a little bit of the gold comes through. See, those color palettes that we get are like so in nature, so many places. Rialto Beach. Rialto? Yeah, Rialto Beach on the Pacific part of Olympic National Park. Yeah. So what's crazy about this one, okay, you can see that sea stack out there in the back. The where I'm standing is actually very steep, and it's all rocks, not sand. And when those breakers come in and it hits you, it sounds like, my husband has a rock tumbler going in the garage, and it sounds like that, except amplified. It's the biggest. I mean, it's just this sound, just like crazy. It's the coolest thing in the world. It is so beautiful, but oh my gosh, it's pretty amazing. Ah, and here we have Moab. I must be coming to the end. Yep, of my golden hour. You guys are awfully patient for me to go through these. Now I know which ones to go back to. Oh. This was Angie, I'm so sorry. You take care and rest up, Angie. This one is a larch tree. Yes, a larch tree. This was just coming out of Hell's Canyon area in Washington. Was it Washington? Or was it Oregon? And maybe it was in Oregon. Yeah. Just the difference, though. Like, I haven't worked on this one, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what's going on, you guys? All right, so that was that one. This one. Yeah. I really, really loved these colors. And I didn't think that I would like this gray and green and gold. But in nature, it was so amazing. But so one of the things, I guess, from all of this about photos, and I didn't really show you anything new of what to do or how to do it, but I appreciate you so much being here with me while I took you through these to see, because it gave me a chance to see, to really look at the transition and the change of what my eye has done, and along the way why I made some choices about doing things differently, and how I changed it up, or what I did with exposures or depth of field, or what I learned along the way. But I did, I'll tell you one thing that I know for sure. Let me close this down here. And, oh, that's there. Let's go to, oh, so one thing that I really realized that I learned is that if you are inspired and you see something that inspired, you need to stop and write it down, to take the picture, to do whatever it is that puts that into your memory banks or your pocket folder or whatever, so that you can come back to that. And then working through this with you guys, I really appreciate this, of you sitting here and letting me go through this. And we'll see that, because what it does told me was there's a bunch of those that, yes, that are pretty, but I didn't, for me, there wasn't there's a couple that are pretty incredible, like the Crater Lake one that I really, really like, and there's a few other ones, but there's some that I may have overworked. And I wonder how often I do that, and what I can do to improve my workflow and how I work with it. You know, it's not like I can scrape it off on that, but even if I have a print of those and they're not that great, what can I do to enhance it, to make it something else? Can I pull it off and try drawing on it, on the physical piece? Can I take the file and take it into Topaz and really start playing with the pixels and add a whole different aspect to it? And how do I want to use that when I'm working on a project? Is it a project? Is it my voice in photography? Is it what am I doing with that? But along the way, I think what this teaches me the most is that you can't do it on your own necessarily. You have to share things with people in some way. And if nothing else, it forces you to um, verbalize and talk about what your process was. And that's really, really important. And the next step, I'm pretty good now at the verbalizing and processing, but what I really need to get better at is the editing, because you guys are really tolerant, but I don't think, um, yeah, it's, it needs to be, I need to trust my own edit and say, what do we do here? And, and make, yeah, I'm just kind of ruminating here, ruminating over some things about that. So anyway, um, oh, thank you, Angie. Yes, yeah. So, so that's kind of how I'm gonna end this show tonight. I want to pull something up if I can and play some music. Kind of loud, but back at it. So anyway, I again, I really, really appreciate you being here tonight. Go through those. I hope that maybe some of the images gave you a little bit of inspiration on color palette for what you're doing, or inspiration to go someplace new, or try something different, or to look at things a little differently. That one in Wyoming, unless I'd turned down that road, I never would have seen that place. And it is one of my all time favorite shots. And sometimes you have to put in the picture what you see in your mind. And that's what I'm trying. And I appreciate you so much being here and seeing me and helping me along the journey. And I'm going to sign off, like I always sign off, with I want you to keep looking for the beauty hidden in plain sight. First thing, go in the mirror, and that's the first place you'll find it. And then look all through. It's everywhere. So until the next time, you got blessings. And bye now.